started. That should start the show.
Mean.
All right. What were we saying? The recycling centre. Yeah, that place is insane. So good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I found this radiogram, I don't know, a month ago. It's from like the 1930s. But the insides of it doesn't work at the moment, but
Like an old valve unit, radio.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
And even just the piece of furniture on itself, like the wood and the smell of it, it's just awesome. So me and a mate, he's got an old radio, like a 1950s radio from, he's down in Hawke's Bay anyway. He found it at an old op shop, and we pulled apart a Bluetooth speaker and wired that into it. And
Sweet,
just Bluetooth your phone to it, and you're away.
That's cool. Like the old, they're beautiful old walnut wooden boxes, polished boxes and things. I've got an old one. It's, I want to say like a Bakelite material. It's like an old 50s kind of plastic, but not plastic hard stuff that they used to make light switch cases out of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same shortwave radio or a medium wave shortwave radio. You turn it on at night time and you pick up Vladivostok and all sorts of shit. Yeah, my grandfather gave it to me years and years ago.
Yeah, wicked.
That's cool. That recycling centre, my whole shed outside, that kitchen shed area there, that's all from there.
Oh, wicked.
Apart from the fridge, which I originally had a fridge from there for $5 and it finally gave up the ghost, so I had to get another fridge.
$5 fridge?
Yeah, $5 fridge. Man. Yeah, man. When Renee started the kombucha business here, like this is when they first started in the kitchen and they started producing more than we could actually put in our fridge. Yep. I went to the recycling centre and I bought 3 second-hand fridges for $5 each, and they were side by side out here. Yep. And then we needed more space, so I got an old chest freezer. Yep. And used that, but just cracked it open so that it wouldn't actually freeze. Had to use it like a fridge.
Yeah. It was super efficient.
Yeah. We eventually replaced it with one of those cool stores that you stick, like a 2x4 by 2.4 you can put on the back of a trailer.
Oh, yeah.
And there's the dude who delivered it drove in with like his Highlander with that thing on the back and reversed it up and parked it up there, and then came and got it like 18 months later. Like, the guy's mean in his truck and trailer skills.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Had it nailed.
Yeah.
It's good.
But I'm trying to get Trina from down the recycling centre to come on and talk.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, talk about that, because she's pretty full on. She's pretty amazing. The way she runs that place down there, it just runs so well. And of all the community recycling centres around New Zealand, like, it's the best run one by far, and the profitable one and all that sort of stuff. And they do a whole heap of really cool stuff, which you don't hear about, but things that come in, clothes and blankets and stuff like that, which they put aside just for people in the local community who can't afford to buy it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What do they do with the money? Like, is that a non-for-profit type thing? Like, it goes somewhere? It's a
non-profit organisation, so it goes back and paying the wages for the people who work there. Yep. Some people, there's a number of volunteers as well, but paying the wages. They improve the site itself, so there's a big piece of work going down there, just starting now. They're going to build a whole new building down there.
I've seen that somewhere, some plans for that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So proper big building so that they can have trucks driving in, dropping off stuff, picking up gear, all of that kind of stuff.
It's like becoming a big thing.
Eh? Yeah. It's a well-run enterprise. That's why I want to get on here. She's a really clever businesswoman.
Yeah. Interesting, eh?
Yeah,
it's a great spot.
Oh man, some great finds down there. When I moved to Helensville, I spent, honestly, when we got to Helensville, after about 6 months, the only people in Helensville I knew were the people who worked at the recycling centre.
Oh, really?
I was there every weekend. It was
this guy again.
It was like Trina eventually asked me to be on the board down there. Because I turned up so often, she was like, clearly you've got an interest in this place. Would you like to be involved? I was like, thanks. So I did that for a year or so. But it's like a dream come true, man. When I was a kid, I used to go to the tit with my dad, and I just love it. I'd be taking home more shit than we were throwing out. And he's like, we don't need this stuff. I'm like, Dad, it almost works. We could fix this. I just never lost that.
Yeah, that's interesting, eh?
Yeah.
It's better than the throwaway society that we've sort of got ourselves into now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and certainly, there's there's a need for all that, or want for all that stuff, like you said, the stuff that you've found, Shaun. And,
Yeah, there's a lot of it down there that just comes in. It's perfectly good. You know, honestly, perfectly good gear. I was there one day and this dude dropped off these curtains, like big roller blind curtains, and they were huge and perfect. Well, I was saying to the guy, it's like, what are you getting rid of them for? And he went, oh, they're from the beach house and the wife just doesn't like them. She's replacing them.
Right.
Yeah.
So they get really good gear coming in sometimes.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. It's nice to have probably somewhere to take stuff that you don't want anymore that's not worth throwing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you'd literally take it to the tip.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people just can't be asked. It's like, I'll just get rid of it. And then if someone down there can sell it for a bit of money and it goes into the community, that's a good thing. I think that's the goal, is that the money that's generated there will accumulate and then they'll look to do other things with it. Like, I think down there, you know, Trina would like to get to the point where they've got an established space down there that they can start to use the products that come in for disadvantaged members of the community, maybe people in the community who, you know, not Craigwell House, there's another place around here, you know, people with, you know, mental disability, that sort of thing, but find work for them where they can actually take some of the stuff, material that comes in, some of the actual physical material, maybe make handbags or something out of it that you can resell. Right. So they've got a job, they're doing something productive and useful, and it turns over, and again, that pays some wages for them. So it's all that community focused stuff. It's good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's awesome.
It is. You know, I don't even think, I saw somewhere the other day where someone was whinging about like access to tips for a start, and then the cost of tipping stuff. Like there's nowhere really anymore that you can. Literally, like we were saying, there's almost not even an option to throw some stuff out.
So you could, even those guys have got to pay for stuff like car seats. You can't get rid of car seats. You know, kids' booster seats.
Yep.
And they want
really?
Yeah. And what can you do with the booster seat? Your kid has it after 3 years. It's just covered in shit, and like you're not going to really. Rarely would you give it to someone else, I guess, and they'd be like, "Oh, thanks."
Yeah, unless you're like, look after them hard out.
Yeah,
that's hard too. And they all have an expiry date.
Well, yeah, that's right. They do too.
Yeah, when they, I mean, not they're any use to anyone, but then, I mean, our kids, we've got them lying around in our garage now that they've got to that age where they don't need them, but they've still got 3 or 4 years of good life on them, you know, before their expiry.
Yeah.
So that's a thing too, that somewhere like that would be fine.
Yeah, that's the thing though. They can't get rid of them. It costs them money. They've got to pay to get rid of them because of the plastic in them. No one just wants to recycle that type of plastic.
Yeah.
And I think they had a problem with China a year or two ago, was for a couple of years taking plastic from everyone. It was like, send us all your plastic, we'll recycle it. And then they just stopped.
Yep.
And so all these people around the world had like built up these, you know, these channels of, you know, drop your stuff off and we'll sell it to China, we'll get money for it. And then all of a sudden like, well, fuck, we don't want it anymore. We can't get rid of it.
You can't store it.
What do we do with it?
Yeah. Throw it in the ground.
Yeah, I guess so.
Absolutely.
Tip it out at sea, that's the problem.
Well, yeah.
And what was China doing with it?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they were recycling it to some extent. Maybe they were just
out of it.
Maybe they was burning.
Yeah, possibly.
We'll find out in a few years.
Yeah. True. Throw it back at us somehow.
Yeah, you'll find your plastic lunch bags coming back at you. Yeah,
They're clever.
Yeah, well, the other thing, this is an interesting one, is that you can take waste and you can just burn it and produce heat and produce steam and produce electricity off it. True. Which is an interesting one because I think a lot of people go, oh, you shouldn't do that because it's going to create a whole heap of pollutants and toxins into the air. But if you trap that, you know, if you've got an exhaust and you filter it and you trap that, so you end up with blocks of shit which are easy to manage, then you just turn that rubbish into electricity. It's probably not a bad way for it to end its life.
Aren't they doing that at the Red Vale one out the back of Dairy Flat there, where they actually, it's something to do with like the methane given off from the rubbish. They trap that and then they're running a like a big V16 engine that powers the site.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of
wicked.
Yeah, self-powering or something like that.
Yeah. They do that with old tips now. You know, for years and years, everything just got buried in the ground. Well, now you see them, they put these big plastic tarps over them and pipe off it because the methane's just seeping out of it. Let's get the methane now and use that and burn it as a fuel.
Yeah, it's a really good fuel too.
Really?
Yeah.
That you wouldn't know, Tim, but that the site where you may know, but the site where the museum is in Helensville, that was a tip.
Was it?
That was a rubbish tip when we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing. We used to go in there with the old man and take trailer loads of shit in there, and I don't think we really ever bought anything out of there, but
Oh,
but yeah, it was huge, mate, and right by the river.
you weren't doing it right.
No. Damn, we missed something there. Eh? We're trying to get rid of stuff, mate, not bring it home. Yeah. But that was it, man. Like right by the main road there.
Oh, wow.
Right next to the river. That was the Helensville tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah. I think you should get a good smell after a couple of years too.
Yeah, I sort of can't remember that. I remember being there, I guess, but yeah, not.
Do you know what it smells like? Balsamic vinegar. Yeah, that red balsamic vinegar.
Yeah.
That's
you
what.
reckon rubbish dumps smell like that?
Yeah, that's what they smell like. Because all the rotting food and stuff.
So
out there.
is that what's our balsamic now?
Well, no, but it does Renee's head in whenever she puts it onto salad in summertime or something. I go, you know what that smells like? Do not tell me. Shut up. Don't tell me.
A rubbish dump.
You're going to spoil it for me.
Nice salad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit of history for you anyway. For the Ville.
Yeah. Shit. I got a text from my mum before. Their dog died, had a stroke today. Their old dog.
That's shitty.
Yeah, she's about 11. She was a cool dog, blue heeler. Type of, actually not exactly a blue heeler. A Smithfield. They're like a blue heeler, but they're slightly different. They've got Smithfield, I think she was.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Romy, but mum said playing with my dad, chucking the ball, all healthy, and then just started walking sideways and fell over and off to the vets. And it's like, she's in a coma, she's had a stroke,
Jesus.
and that was it.
Put them down.
Poor thing, yeah. So they're pretty cut up, fucking really cut up. But
Yeah. That
It
sucks.
eh?
yeah.
So how old?
I want to say that she was 11, 9 or 11, but maybe 11.
Yeah.
I should know, but I just don't recall.
Not too bad, I suppose, but
No.
still never fun.
Yeah, and just so quick, I think, because it wasn't like she was degenerating in health. She was all fit and healthy and then just fell over.
Oh, sorry to hear that, mate. That's shitty.
Yeah. Oh, it's rough for my mum and dad.
Yeah, comes
sure.
part of the family, eh?
Yeah. Well, then, particularly for people, parents' age, because the kids have moved out, so
Yeah, that's their thing, eh?
it's their focus,
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. So.
That's they're in Australia, eh?
Yep.
Sydney, you come from?
Below Sydney, a place called Albury,
Okay.
on the border of New South Wales and Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, just from there. Yeah, it's a good spot.
Yep.
Yeah, heaps of people, surprising number of people that I see over here, and they say you're Aussie, where you're from. I say Albury. Like, oh yeah, I've been through Albury.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of on the main thoroughfare. It used to be anyhow. If you went from Melbourne to Sydney, you'd drive through Albury, but 15 years ago or something, they put a bypass around it.
Oh, yeah.
But the bypass is one such that as you drive over the bypass, you can look and see Albury. So I think it kind of pulls people in because they see it and they know it's there.
Yeah.
But they put this bypass all the way from Albury up to Sydney, which used to be a 6-hour drive. It's a lot less now because it's all just motorway that you can take. But a lot of little towns died. Because they bypassed them, and they bypassed them entirely. So you don't even know they're there. You don't even see them. And it's just like,
Yeah, that happens, eh?
no one comes in anymore. No one buys fuel or stops at the dairy to buy chips or a pie.
Yeah.
It's like Pocono, eh?
Just going to
Pocono
say,
was
yeah,
like that.
exactly the same, yeah.
Until they developed it, and now it's like a big housing development area.
Mate, it's huge, eh?
Yeah.
Like thousands of houses. But yeah, it was like the same thing. And they were sort of known for its bacon and
its ice creams.
big
eh?
ice creams, yeah, like massive ice creams. So every time you went south,
Yeah, you'd stop there.
after the Bombays, it is after the Bombays, eh? Just
Yep.
before, after. You get an ice cream, mate, and that was its kind of jam.
Yeah.
But you went through it.
Yeah.
So that was it. But now it's just like you said, it's just motorway.
Yeah.
But massive housing development.
Yeah,
It's huge.
Man, those housing developments, that like out at Hobsonville over here, is that going to be like Gang City in 20 years' time?
The slums.
Well, it's just, it's got that Coronation Street look to it.
It does.
They're side
And
by
Hobby.
side by side by side
It's too
by side by
expensive, man.
side by side.
It's
Yeah.
way too expensive.
Is
Yeah,
it?
the
Yeah.
only way that would go pear-shaped is like, I guess, I don't know.
A bunch of crime comes to town.
Yeah, I
for
don't know
some
the
reason,
exact in
but
and outs of, say, Rotorua that's happened, but,
Yeah.
like, unless the government owned a whole lot of houses there and,
Yeah.
and just chucked people in them, then I
Yep.
think, like you said, Sean, it's certainly way too expensive. So.
too high end, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'd say they've probably done that on purpose in a way.
yeah.
But I guess it's not that unusual. It's like, I guess it's just like inner city living in a way, except you've got more space than in a city apartment, but less space than, a quarter acre block. But does look very compartmentalized, 4
But
apartments.
It's a stunning area. Like you get down to the waterfront there. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good
it's
spot.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is for sure. Yeah. I got a mate I was talking to at work. He's in Rotorua. And yeah, he was talking about Rotorua at the moment. It's just saying it's not good what's happened down there with all the homeless people who have been housed there.
Yeah.
And you can just imagine, man. Like, because I was saying, are they all from Rotorua? He's like, no, there are heaps of people from Auckland and other areas. So yeah, those people have basically been homeless here or there, and then picked up and said, okay, here's a hotel, you can live there.
Yeah.
But it's not like you're in your hometown and your community that you've kind of been uprooted and just dropped somewhere.
I think they're obviously at a point, I guess, where they don't have a place. So here's a house if you want it, I guess. I'm presuming.
Yeah.
Like you said, from Auckland. Well, there's one in Rotorua if you want it. So they go.
Yeah.
I assume.
But that's just... Yes, it's good that you've got a permanent house now.
It's bizarre.
But still, just imagine if you and your family got picked up and it's like, you got to go to Rotorua and live in an apartment, because that's your only option.
Oh, it's tough, man.
Yeah,
Real
that's real tough.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yep.
that's a real tough life. Like living in a car, that's fucking hard work.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
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 And I know what you do. I see on Twitter and all that sort of stuff at the moment. You see some of the cities in the States where, have you seen that? People walking down the street and there's just like junkies and meth heads like zombies and fucking tent city all the way along.
In every city, eh?
Yeah, in every city. And I see some people commenting on it going, oh, it's dreadful. They should get rid of the homeless. I'm like, well, and do what with the homeless? Like, where are you planning on putting these people?
This is a problem because there is not too many options.
Yeah, there's something before this which is causing this problem. These people ending up homeless for some reason. There's something else that needs to be fixed, not deal with the symptom and try and shift the people somewhere else. Stop the homeless people getting to that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I get, the answers to that are probably hard. Yes. Otherwise they'd be doing it. But.
Yeah, what's his name? Michael Schellenberger is a guy who's done a lot of work in the States on it and done some comparisons between, I think it's the Nordic countries, like maybe it's the Netherlands. You know, that homeless problem 20 years ago and what's happening in these American cities. But the difference seems to be in the American cities, they're basically saying, oh, if you're homeless, we'll grant you rules. Like your tent becomes like a home on the street and there's no need for you to move off, and we change the normal sort of, private property laws. Like if you're on someone's front path, well, you can stay there because you're homeless and that's not a problem. And even though the person who's living there going, hey, I bought this house 20 years ago, I'm trying to sell it and now the price is going down. Well, too bad, this person's got rights too. Whereas in Amsterdam, they were saying, look, you guys, we'll help you, but you've got to put some skin into the game as well. So like you've got to commit that if you've got a drug and alcohol problem, then you come to the classes to try and get off that. And once you've demonstrated that you're clean, we'll get you a job. And then once you've got a job, you get a place to stay.
Yep.
And they reckon that the incidence of people going into that program in the Netherlands and staying in it is way higher, and so they get less people coming back out. You know, they actually get in there and feel, oh, I've got a job. Hey, I feel all right about myself now. Yeah, I've got a job. I'm doing something constructive.
Yeah, for sure.
Versus just saying, oh, here you can just stay there where you are. It's like, well, what's the incentive to move? Like, you know, if you're going to give me the dole, I can live in a tent. Okay, I've done that for a couple of years. I'm kind of used to it. Yeah. You know, get my drugs from my mate. I'll just stay here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would you shift?
Yeah, there's got to be some incentive, I suppose. But that buy-in's probably good, like you said.
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
You know, people want to do stuff. People want to feel like they're...
Mostly, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know that everyone does. That's part of the problem, I think, here.
But like the Nordic countries seem to be far more advanced in a lot of areas, and especially in their social services and the way they do things, eh? Like,
it's their ways of living, eh?
Yeah. Well. They look after their people a lot better.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about it, but my brother-in-law's all over it. And just some of the things he says about the Nordic countries and all the way they deal with prisoners and rehabbing people, and just far more advanced than where we're at.
I think their like paternity and maternity leave and stuff like that is the same too. They get longer off work and things like that, which I guess spending, as we know, like spending more time with your kids when they're young prevents a lot of things going, later on in life.
Yeah.
So they're advanced in heaps of ways, like with the way they live.
Their prisons. Do you ever see that show, World's Toughest Prisons?
I've seen bits of it.
Yeah. That guy who was in the UK, he was wrongly accused of murder when he was young, I think. I don't know, him and a group of guys were accused of murder. Anyway, he did some time in the prisons in the UK system and then was acquitted and got out. And so now he's got this show and he goes around the world city to city looking for the worst prisons. Like going in Guatemala and Panama and in somewhere in Mexico and over here, all around these like rough prisons. But he goes in as a prisoner. Obviously, he's got a film crew with him, so everyone knows he's not a prisoner. But they kind of, he tells them the stories like, "Hey, I've done time," and they're like, "All right, we accept you," and so he doesn't get stabbed too often.
Too often. Once or twice is good,
but he he did the Nordic one. I don't know which, Sweden, wherever it was. And he turns up and they greet him at the front door. Now, whether this is a stage or not, who knows? But they greet him at the front door and they're like, okay, he comes out of the paddy wagon, like, take his cuffs off. And they take his cuffs off and they're like, hello, how are you? Welcome to the prison. And he's like, okay. And they walk him inside. They take him to his room and they show him his room and he's like, what's this? I said, well, this is your room. He's like, me on my own, this is my room. And the room is like, it's a really nice room. It's got a window that looks outside. It's got a nice bed. It's got its own little shower section here and cupboards and all that. And he says, I'm feeling really uneasy now because this room is nicer than some hotels I've stayed in.
Yep.
And then he goes through this whole prison was an experimental one. He goes through talking to people who are in there and they get them work in the prison system, and all the guards and the prisoners, like at lunchtime and that, they're all sitting down together, just playing cards, hanging out together. There's not like these Supermax things in the States where the guards are up here slinging their rifles and the guys are all down there on their own. They're mingling together, and they've taken this whole approach where they've said the punishment is that they're in prison. They're away from their family. They're stuck here. That's the punishment. If we just make them feel like dogs in here, they're just going to resent us and there's no way they're going to improve. So we give them respect, and we try to help them improve. And again, apparently their reoffending rate, once people get out, the reoffending rate is really low because they've educated them, they've made them feel okay about themselves, got them to the point where they get out in a good mindset to go, okay, I'm going to get out. I'm not coming back. I've learnt. Yeah. Instead of just, you've just kept me cooped up with criminals. You've treated me like shit. I fucking resent you and the system.
That's that resentfulness, They don't hate the system when they come out. They're not anti-law and all the rest of it. They're just,
where they otherwise are.
Treated like people.
Yeah, that was it.
Rather than, sometimes you treat your dog better than some of the prisons.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think there's obviously a place, for criminals that couldn't be in a place like that,
Yeah,
like you couldn't chuck the absolute nutters in there. I
No,
don't know.
Yeah, no. Look, you I think you're probably right. Yeah, there are people once they've got to the point of really got like mental problems and they've got criminal and mental issues. Yeah, that's a tricky situation.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
But pardon me, most of these guys that on this episode were just like regular guys that something had gone wrong somewhere along the line.
Yep.
You wouldn't say that they had real mental issues or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, seems to make sense.
Mm. You can see why.
Well, you can if you looked at it another way, if you said, okay, we're going to get some guys who've done something wrong, and we're going to try and make them real mean bastards and try and maximise the chance they'll go out and offend again. And be like, well, how about we stick with all the other dudes like that and we prod them with sticks and treat them like shit and see what they do.
Spit on them.
Yeah,
and that's it. Eh?
That's what happens.
What happens. Yeah, when you think about it.
Yeah.
You can sort of see the outcome's never going to be that great.
Yeah.
Well, generally.
Yeah.
Certainly some are still right, but
Well, it'd be tough, man. Being in prison's not the place you want to be.
Nah, I think most of us, normal people or whatever, however you want to put it, would go crazy as it is. Like being put in there.
Yeah.
Like stayed away from your family and stuff like that. It'd be
no sunshine, like no exercise necessarily. Like they might get a couple hours a day if they're lucky.
Yeah.
It'd be
probably
horrendous.
Minutes.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to like mingle with everyone because someone might have the idea that you'll get into a fight.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't mingle with those people. So you're heavily restricted, and then you're supposed to come out of there and be like, "Sweet, I'll be a good person now."
Yeah.
And that's the heavy restrictions. But then there's can you imagine the stress going in there, and dudes looking at you and going, "Well, what? You're white, so I guess you're with that gang. You're not with us." And like going, "Fuck, man, what the hell's going on here? I don't know the
rules."
rules.
Nothing to do with no one. Like, hey,
yeah. Well, that was another thing on one of those shows. He's in this prison, and there's this. I think I remember this right. No, this is out of a movie. Shit, this is one of those shows. It was out of a movie, but it was a good example. Where this young
be
guy,
real.
this guy, it was very similar to this. It was a dude. I know it was
Based on a true story.
Yeah, based on a true story. This was Mr. In Between. Have you guys ever seen Mr. In Between, the series? Oh, if you get a chance to watch Mr. In Between, it is gold. It was produced in Australia a couple of years ago, and it's just fantastic. It's about Ray. Ray's this bald dude who's about our age. His daughter's about 12. He's just trying to live his life.
Yeah.
But just his job happens to be he's a hitman. But he's just real low key about it. Like no one knows that he's a hitman, but he's a really good hitman. And so he's just trying to do his. Anyhow, at one stage he ends up in prison. That's right. And he gets into prison, and this young guy gets into prison with him. The young guy kind of realizes, he knows what's going on. And Ray's like, fucking young guy. I'm not here for long. I'll try and look after him. But the young dude sees this other bully in there, and he says to him, he's like, "G'day, champ." And the bully's like, "What did you fucking call me?" And Ray's like, "Oh, you're fucked." He's like, "Why? What have I done?" So it's like the word champ in prison, apparently. He's like, "You don't call people champ in prison." But he didn't know. And that was the first thing he said to this dude. So he was just off on the wrong foot to begin with. But you can imagine, I mean, that's what it would be like.
Yeah.
New rules.
Oh, yeah.
It's like being called buddy.
Yeah.
Fucking hate being called buddy. Just,
All right, buddy. You'd want to keep, you'd feel like you couldn't say a word.
Fuck no.
Hey.
You just want to live in your cell. And then you can't always just live in your cell.
And that's the thing. Like, you could go in there as a all right, normalist person that's done something wrong.
Yeah.
And turn into a nutcase.
Oh,
That's the thing, eh?
I reckon the dudes that survive in prison are mentally strong.
Yeah.
You know, if you actually come out of prison and you're able to reintegrate and be okay and not be completely PSTD'd about the whole thing, you've got to be pretty mentally strong.
Yep.
Yeah, you would have to be, eh?
Yeah. Even with, I've heard guys talk about it and say, if you're in for a long stretch, that you've got to make a choice. You've either got to fight it and say, it's not fair, I shouldn't be in here, blah, blah, blah. And they reckon if you do that,
Yeah, good luck.
you're just going to burn out.
Yeah.
You've just got to accept it. You just got to accept it and calm down and go, I'm just going to be here for however long. And that's kind of one of the ways to do it. That would be fucking tough to get in.
Man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never want to end up in that situation.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be fine, all right. Oh, yeah. Nice short.
Oh. I did have something I was going to ask you guys about. What is it? What I wrote down. Now I can't read it.
Your notes, mate. What have you got?
Yeah, no, I can't
Cheers, bro.
say it now. I did have something there. I was going to... Hey?
Topics. What do you got?
Topics. Yeah, well, I was going to talk about drones, but that wasn't the one I was thinking of. There was something else.
Oh, a mate of mine just gave me a little drone to play around with.
Did he?
On the weekend,
Yeah.
so I'm looking forward to that, actually.
What type?
It's just a little Chinese thing. It's like about that big with the fold-out arms. Couldn't even tell you what brand it is. It's just a no-name brand, I think.
Yeah.
And I've done a drone course through Massey University. It was a couple of years ago now. And it was a week long, and you come out with your drone wings.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah. But it's quite good because it gives you an understanding of Part 101 and Part 102. So that's like the private operations of a drone versus a certificated drone operator.
Ah, right.
Yeah, so there's actually a lot in there because if you go and fly a drone anywhere, you actually have to know Part 101 rules, NZCAA Part 101 rules, because you are flying an aircraft.
Yeah.
Far out.
And so there's been plenty of people that have gone and flown drones where they shouldn't have flown them, and they've been prosecuted because, I don't know, they've been well outside the rules. For example, endangering aircraft, flying in aircraft flight paths and all the rest of it. So they've been tried in court and they've said, I didn't even know about this. I didn't know this existed. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You should have.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people get that. It's not a toy. It's actually an aircraft.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be like that. They get a new Mavic drone, they go and fly it around somewhere, and if they got pinged for it, they'd be like, I've got no idea, I couldn't do that.
And it's big fines, man.
Yeah.
But they are dangerous.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And they do get away from people,
Oh, yeah. You can imagine, if you're flying it around, like a sporting event, there's stuff going on. So at Mount Eden, if you flew a drone in there, some people would start freaking out. Some people would. They'd be like, people working there would be like, what the fuck is this thing doing? Is this a terrorist attack? Is this going to shoot someone or drop something?
Strapped to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see why they would flip out about that type of thing these days in people's minds.
I think
But cool thing, like as long as you know what you're doing, they're a great thing. Like
Oh, yeah.
a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Versatile too. I saw some dudes up the beach last summer, using them to fly their long lines
the
out.
fishing ones.
Yeah. Yeah, they got like a little cargo hook on the main.
Yeah.
And drop the thing off.
Drop that
Fishing's
off.
gotten lazy, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. But particularly if you've got a winch on the long line to come back in.
Back in my day,
Yeah.
sit there and cast it out.
Yeah, shouldn't speak really.
Even the racing too, like that's real big now, the drone racing.
Oh man, that's insane.
Yeah. We see them go
I've
like
seen it.
old buildings, like an old derelict building, and that becomes part of the race course.
Yep.
Yeah, and just insane, like in through the window and down the stairwell, and around these metal bars and back out again, and
it's fast, man.
fast.
And those little racing ones are only like that sort of big, like, and the guys are flying them on goggles.
Yeah,
That's unreal.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah. I don't know how they like fall over and just vomit from motion sickness or something.
maybe to start with, they probably do a few times. They're like flying like this.
Oh, you would be, eh?
I'd reckon.
Around the corners.
Yeah.
You can just imagine a bunch of people lying on the ground vomiting.
What are
Drones
they?
are just
Have they been
smashed.
drinking? Nah, they're just drone pilots.
Yeah. Drone sick.
Yeah, some AI stuff I saw the other day though. Like there was some AI flying these drones, and you think the drone pilots are good. Jesus.
Oh, I bet.
Like this thing was just like around this course because it's just like it's just figured out the perfect way to get around that course, knowing its limits. It's like, whoa,
That's scary though, eh?
scary, man. Scary because some of those drones that they were showing were ones that were about this big.
Yeah.
And some of them, they were building a hook arm onto it for grabbing things, like for flying along to pick something up.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
that's scary, eh?
And you're thinking, you'll just be walking down the street one day and the cops will think you're up to something, and a cop drone will just come down and just grab you and fly you out of the zone.
That's
Skynet.
Skynet.
Yeah. That's it. Because they use the same thing, eh? Like are they using them in war now?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Have you?
Yeah. They got tiny little ones that like fit in the palm of your hand, or the soldier's hand. So if you're in an urban environment, he can just chuck it up, and I think they even might have it like in their goggles now, where you can actually see the view of the drone.
Yep.
So you can just pop it around the corner, see if there's any bad dudes there, carry on. So huge. And then it just gets scalable, right? So you might have one about the size of this table that's just doing laps above the streets, and then you got the big boys that are like Boeing 737 size
Far out.
Yeah.
that are doing the battlefield controller overhead, and those things will fly from country to country, like they're huge.
Do they drop bombs and that off them?
Yeah.
100%.
Missiles and stuff off them.
Yeah, nice.
And they've got the what do they call them now? Loitering munitions. So these things which I don't know how they get them into the air. They launch them off the ground, or they launch them out of a plane, and then they turn into the little drones, and they will just hover, and they've got like one little bomb grenade on them.
Yeah.
And they're just waiting. They're just hovering in the sky. There was none there, and then this thing flew over and dropped them. Now there's 30 of them just hovering around.
Imagine being the dude underneath that.
Yeah. Have you seen some of that?
Got a fast runner.
Oh, shit, man. There's footage like that on YouTube at the moment. Exactly that. Like
Really?
Ukrainian and Russian dudes like in a trench walking along, and there's this bird's eye view above them, and then you actually just see this little dook, and like what looks like a little grenade drops down.
Far out.
And that's on their tank or something. They'd have no idea at all.
Yeah.
Nah, absolutely. You wouldn't hear them either up there, eh?
No. It's freaky. It's like, I remember about 6 or 8 years ago, what are we now, 2022?
2022.
Yeah, probably about 2015 or something, reading the US military says that by 2020 there'll be no humans on the front line. I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. But now you're starting to go, fuck, they're not that far away from
What's
that.
the front line then?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're pretty close to it now. In the sky, there's a lot of drone activity. There's way less pilots up there. Even now, pilots are learning to fly with drone wingmen. So instead of having another pilot as your wingman, you go up and you've got 2 drones, and these things are autonomous to some extent. You've got a bit of control over what they do, but if they figure it out themselves, it's better to do this. They'll go and bomb that thing and then come back to you.
Far out.
Yeah, man. Fuck me. This is going back 10 years.
Yep.
DARPA invented the, what's it called? It's got some weird name. ETA? Yeah, it's an ETA robot. And this is a biologically powered robot. So this thing,
So it's like peanut butter.
like EATR or something. And I don't know what
No.
urban terrain and reconnaissance. I don't know what it stands for, but this thing is able to grab biological organic material and scoop it up and digest it and take energy off it.
Holy.
So this is a robot on the battlefield that would just crawl around looking for organic material that it could eat. Like, oh, there's a dead dog. I could scoop that up.
Jesus.
Oh, there's a dead soldier. I'll just scoop that up. And that's fucking nightmare machine stuff.
Just gets rid of
Cyborg
evidence,
stuff,
mate.
isn't
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. This is where you are now. They're getting pretty close to, for the Western, the American military having no humans on the front line. It'll just be,
Yep.
plus you see that, those Boston Dynamics
Oh, that's cool, eh?
doing the backflips
Yeah.
and all that kind of thing. Well, just you mount a couple of machine guns on one of those.
Mm.
Yep.
Jesus, man. And it's been pretty interesting too, because a couple of years ago there was a whole heap of they had come out with their big dog, like that mule, that thing which had 4 legs and would walk
that
along.
was creepy, eh?
Yeah, and you see guys trying to kick it over, but it made a lot of noise because petrol power, where it's got its power from.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, we stopped working on this. Well, what the fuck are you working on now then if you're not working on that?
Yeah, that was no good, but
Yeah, like it's all gone very quiet around what their battlefield robots are, but they must
Yeah.
be working on some mean shit now,
absolutely.
particularly with the advances in the AI technology for those things to now just be independent and go out there.
Yeah.
Freaky.
It is.
Skynet.
It is.
Just like
It's
war's
100%.
shit, full stop, eh? But man, having no humans involved would be great.
Yeah. Well, yeah, except that those things are always going to run into some humans. Like, if they'll go, they're going walking through town and they've been told,
Yeah.
don't shoot anyone. But the civilians are still going to go, we don't want that robot here, and they'll go and try and attack it. The thing's going to get sick of it eventually and just turn around and go, pff, and keep
Yeah,
walking.
Yeah, true. But yeah, you won't have loss of life in terms of army personnel, I suppose.
Well, that's when both sides have got it. If it's one-sided, like if, say, the US or China have got this amazing robot army, but whoever they're fighting hasn't, then it's pretty fucked.
Yeah.
Because then it's humans
Yeah.
against robots.
Yes and no. It all depends on who comes down to the control of it. So instead of, like back in, say, World War II, whoever had the most intelligence or broke into the comms of into the enemy's comms would have the upper hand. And it's no different with robots. It doesn't really matter if it's meat fighting the battle or if it's machine fighting the battle. If you can shut down
True.
their comms and their...
What controls it?
Yeah, exactly. Then it doesn't really matter. Whatever's
No, you're
having the
right.
battle on the front line is irrelevant.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's where all the frontiers of war are moving to as well now. They've got, but they used to have three domains of war. It's like land, sea, and air, World War II. And now they've got 5. They got land, sea, air, cyber, and space. Because now they're right at the point now. They're even doing. There's been a couple of things where it's like, did the Chinese just test destroying a satellite, or was that an accident? Oh, it was an accident. We didn't mean to destroy that satellite. But it's actually starting to think that they're working on technology to go, okay, so there's all the Starlink satellites from Elon, who's pumping down stuff to the Ukrainian guys in the field. And Putin's paid some Chinese guys to go and whack them, and then suddenly, ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
those satellites don't work anymore.
Yeah,
So that's
Absolutely.
the space domain of war.
Yeah.
And then the cyber one, like you say, if you can control the comms
Yeah.
to the aircraft, then
Which is exactly what that shooting the satellites down is. Like,
yeah,
it is.
Because then they can't send
yeah,
control signals
Mm.
yeah,
to all that machinery.
yeah. There was this movie from the 80s, and I can't think of what it was called. It might have been the Philadelphia Experiment, where
Oh, yeah, that's where they moved a ship under magnets and then brought it back, and there was dudes
half arms,
half through walls and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
But was that the film where the other part of the story was that they sent an aircraft carrier back to 1944, and so there's this American aircraft carrier turns up in 1944, and they're like, where the fuck are we? And then they realise, they see a Zero go past or something, or a Messerschmitt, and they're like, oh my God, we're in World War II. And like, we can kick ass.
Yeah.
But I don't think they really could kick ass. I think they'd actually be pretty fucked because they'd have no satellites, they'd have no GPS. They'd actually be like a giant hunk of tin out there going, we can't figure out exactly where we are because we're used to using this technology. We can't use it.
Yeah, it's what you learn and know.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if that would
all the
actually be a
things
benefit.
rely on things that you've got used to
Yeah.
weren't there.
Yeah.
So instead of looking out the window, you're used to looking at GPSs and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And instruments that didn't exist back then. You'd be looking for those, didn't have it.
Don't have them. What do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
What do you reckon all these UFOs around the Navy ships and things are?
You never know, man. Like it could be the own, like the US Navy themselves or the Marines or whatever, testing new technology, which has always been there and always will be there.
Yeah.
There's probably times where like things like the B-2 bomber, that was completely under wraps. The F-117 Nighthawk, that was completely under wraps. So someone sees something that they haven't seen before and they go, UFO.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is true because it's unidentified flying object.
For them.
Totally.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it is.
But
not alien.
not crazy off this world sort of stuff.
Yeah. That's I on Twitter I follow some of the UFO people, both sides. Like Mick West is a great guy, the big skeptic, because he's so thorough. There's so many cases where Mick's just gone, let's look at this and figure this out and do this and this and that. And it probably turns out this wasn't a UFO. And people lose their shit. It's like, you're just such a cunt. There's a UFO.
But anything can fit into a UFO, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Well, that's a UFO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. A lot of those ones around the Navy ships and that, I think it's probably that. It's probably American equipment, which is just at a high level testing it. And these dudes just do not know. Even though they're like, we would know. It's like, nah, you don't know. We don't want you to know yet.
Special, so there's a unit called Skunk Works, which is the ones that designed the SR-71, and so they were working on that, and it's completely under wraps, hush hush. So when they go and fly past something, like even if it's the military themselves, the rest of the military doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's right.
yeah, but and saying that, like it could be any other country's secret squirrel ship.
Well, that's true. Well, that's true too. Although that seems risky. Like if it was a Chinese thing floating around, that seems risky for two reasons. One, because the Americans might go, fuck, this isn't us, this is the Chinese, so we're going to have a crack at them.
Shoot it down.
Or they might lose it. Yeah, they're like the US shoot it down, and then suddenly they're like, oh, okay, so it's clearly Chinese, and now we've got your technology, we know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So there's the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That SR-71, there's a really, really cool video called the LA Speed Run.
Oh, yeah.
Which is by one of the pilots, SR-71 Blackbird pilots. I can't think of his name, but it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Very funny. If you get a chance to check it out, where they just talk about they were doing a high run at some stage, and they'll listen to all these other guys calling into the local air traffic control and asking for their speed checks. And like some guy starts it in like a Cessna, and they're like,
because they're calling the tower, right?
Yeah, they're calling the tower.
Control tower, yeah. Speed is whatever.
Yeah, the tower's going like your speed is 57 knots across the ground, and the guy's kind of giggling, and then someone else calls in and it's like, can I get a speed check? And they're like, you're 122 knots across the ground, and eventually it's like they said some Navy guy in an F-18 thinks he's going to be the big dick and goes, the tower, can we have a speed check? And they're like, you're at 982 knots or something.
Yeah.
And then these guys in the SR-71 Blackbird just go, tower, this is blah, blah, blah. Can we get a speed check? And everyone's like, whoa, they're just going so fast.
It's like 3.5 times the speed of sound.
Yeah, they were just hoofing
Yeah,
it.
it's insane.
Because they used to just go up and like just fly up the east coast of California and then across and then back and then down, just speed checks on these sort of things, but it's super speeds.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like you can pass over New Zealand in like 12 minutes.
Far out.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Shit, do you remember a couple of years ago, summertime, when that, I think it was a Russian satellite burnt up, coming back into orbit over New Zealand? Did you see that?
Vaguely.
Oh, shit, man. We were up at a friend's house up on the beach, and it was like I'm going to say, it was December or January or something, it was summer, and we were having dinner outside at their place. So it's probably, 8 o'clock at night. And suddenly we go, whoa! And it's like the biggest shooting star you've ever seen in your life, but it's too bright to be a shooting star. Like you'd see that at nighttime.
Oh, yeah.
And this thing's just going, whoosh. And to begin with, you're like, is that a plane? No, it's too far away and weird to be a plane. And then you're like, oh my God, is that like a, is that like the space station or something coming in? And then it was kind of weird to tell. You could tell couldn't quite tell what it was.
Yeah.
But that thing just went Like it was going so fast. Like it's
Yeah.
going down the length of New Zealand in a couple of minutes
Yeah.
as it was burning up and re-entering. Yeah, insane.
Was it a satellite, did you say?
Yeah, I think it was a satellite which had dropped into orbit, like dropped down out of its orbit,
Right.
run out of power or whatever, and was just burning up.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's probably how they retire them. They just,
I think they do.
Yeah. So there we go.
yeah.
Whether this was planned to be retired then or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing sight to see it come through. It's like a meteorite. It was trying to tell, like, is that a meteorite
Yeah.
burning up, or is that a plane or something? And I remember at the time thinking, God, if that's like the space shuttle, those people are dead because that thing was just burning up.
Yeah.
But it was an unmanned craft, is my understanding. But does it look mean?
Russian.
I think so. I think I got a funny feeling it was a Russian satellite.
Mm.
Russian satellite? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Crazy. There's heaps of them up there now, eh?
There's so much stuff up there.
Yep.
So much stuff. That's part of the problem now, where they're saying, yeah, because,
Isn't the amount of junk up there an issue?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I
Or
think
becoming?
So,
Yeah.
I don't know too much about it.
Bits and pieces fall off because everything's either, even if something's pretty static itself, everything else is moving like 17,000 kilometres an hour this way. So,
Yeah, when stuff hits stuff, it must.
yeah.
It's over. Eh?
Yeah. Like, yeah.
You know, hey.
Not going to fix it.
No.
No.
No, but it's like catastrophic
Just-
for whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And I
Just
guess,
send a dude up. Fix it.
yeah. I guess the more rubbish that's up there, good satellites hit that stuff?
That's the thing.
That's the issue, right?
Yeah, that's the issue. There's some phenomena which they've got a name for it. Yeah, some theoretical physicist or whatever has said we're not that far away from a point where if one satellite, say, were to disintegrate, then it just becomes like a chain reaction because it goes into a million pieces.
Yep.
And in the next 3 days, another 150 satellites all come through that debris field and
right.
they all go,
Yeah.
and then the next week it's,
Yeah.
and everything just disintegrates itself.
All of a sudden, no mobile coverage.
Yeah. I think that's one of the concerns now. I think they're trying to figure out how they can get up there and pick up old satellites and fly a big net around to grab
Big magnet.
big
Yeah.
magnet or something
Yeah, that's interesting.
and grab that stuff. The moon. This week on Twitter, I saw Chinese not landed on the moon. They've landed a craft on the moon and taken some samples, and they found what was it? Like a liquid helium or something crystals, which apparently are going to be some great energy source. And I think they said it's the third material found on the moon that we either don't have here on Earth or we have it in such low quantities on Earth that you can't find it. But on the moon, there's plenty of it.
Oh,
And
interesting. So
yeah.
I'm going to start mining the moon.
Yeah.
Fucking look
That's
out.
next.
Yeah. Because there's plenty of what's
While
the
they're
other
up there, bring that rubbish back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just cut it in half and like float half of it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plenty of stuff up there. Deuterium and all sorts of stuff which I reckon they can use for energy. And this week they did that. They flew that little satellite into an asteroid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Just this week they did it. It was a test to see if they could influence the trajectory of that little asteroid flying around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was it was like a little. You actually had a little. You could see the camera view. They had two views where they had another little spacecraft traveling behind this one, and so as this one approached, you couldn't actually see this one; it was too small. But what you could see was coming closer and closer was this asteroid from this one, and then all of a sudden on that asteroid, there's a bit of a of dust.
Yeah.
But then they also had the camera on this little one, and it's just going, shh, and this asteroid's getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer, and then just all over. But yeah, they hit it, and they're really impressed because apparently they got it within 17 meters of where they had actually aimed for the thing to hit.
Shit.
This is not bad.
Did it actually influence its trajectory?
I don't know. That was the whole point of it. I didn't follow it up to see if it actually hadn't any
17
impact.
meters must be good, I guess, from down here.
You'd reckon, eh?
But
Yeah.
17 meters on I don't know. How big was the asteroid?
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah. But 17 meters could be a long way on how you influence something that's...
If it was only 18 meters wide, bro, it's a pretty only just.
Yeah. So you hit it on the wrong side, and then it comes straight at it.
Yeah.
There's a pretty cool, well, maybe it's cool, maybe it's freaky, web page that NASA put up. And if you Google NASA next 5 near Earth, it gives you the next 5 known near Earth objects that are going to pass close, like to the Earth.
Oh yeah.
And it's got like a picture. It'll have a picture. This one, it's called like NO1222 or something, and it'll be a picture of an aeroplane because it's the size of a 747. This rock, or it'll be a house because the rock's the size of a house. And it's the next 5, and those next 5 are always within like the next 24 hours. Like there are always these things zooming past us. But some of them are accompanying. This is the Earth and this is the Moon. Like some of them are coming in between here. Lots of them are out here like 5 times further than the Moon. You're like, yeah, that's good because that one's the size of 747. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But then occasionally there'll be one it just through here. And then sometimes they're like, there's quite a big one coming. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. When did you find out? Oh, about 45 minutes ago.
That could ruin us.
Yes. If it was heading...
Or if it's gone past, like, because you're, like, those telescopes and everything are only looking at
A narrow
field,
little spot.
Like you've got Earth and you're looking at a field like this, and there might be one over here and whatever.
Mm.
But quite often they'll see something that's actually gone past and like, oh, that's going the other way.
Yeah.
Shit, if that had hit us, that would have
we missed
us.
that.
Yeah.
Why don't things hit? Is there something to do with like
Jupiter.
gravity and shit like that?
Jupiter's the main one. Apparently Jupiter, because of its mass, it's and it sort of orbits around the sun, and we orbit around the sun, but it's got enough gravity that it tends to just like suck lots of that debris towards it and clears a lot of space that we go through. And apparently there's been, if it wasn't for Jupiter, we'd just be rock or dust by now because we wouldn't hit so much.
Far out.
But we do get hit though.
Mm.
Yeah.
That
where do they hit? Out in the desert.
Well, that's what the Gulf of Mexico was created.
Oh, really?
That was an asteroid, and that's what they reckon wiped out the dinosaurs. I think.
Yeah, that's what.
Last time I read a storybook.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do like that Tunguska blast back in 1901 or whatever it was up in the north of Siberia.
Yeah.
That was a pretty big rock. And I think it blew up like just above the ground, did an airburst, but it flattened like millions of trees for hundreds and thousands of kilometres. And for a long time, I can't remember as a kid sort of reading about that, and that was back in the 70s, and people were still like, was this some sort of black magic or was this the devil? Because we weren't quite sure what it was.
Not advanced like that.
Yeah, but it was an asteroid that blew up.
Far out. So Jupiter's gravity just pulls most things that way, away from us.
Keeps a lot of it away, apparently. Yeah, over time has cleared that path. But we go twice a year. So there's the sun, and we're the Earth. We're going around like this. Twice a year we go through the toroid meteor stream, which is where some asteroid or comet broke up years ago, and it's just like debris, but it's kind of formed, like a ring around here. Yeah. And twice a year, as we're going around the sun, we go up through that stream of debris and then down through it again like that. Right. And so it's when because you get in March and June or whenever it is, there's 2 times you get lots of shooting stars, meteor activity. Yep. That's where we're going through this stream of debris, and that's where those little meteors hitting the atmosphere and burning up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a couple of big chunks in there. So there's concern in around 2030 that we're going to go through it, and when we go through it, there's some big chunks that are going to be pretty close to when we're going through.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So lots of them are small and they burn up.
Yeah.
So
that's what you're shooting stars.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
What they are. They're just little meteorites hitting the atmosphere and just burning up from friction. They're going so quick.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
You don't want to hit one of those big ones, though.
Nah. Even a little one.
It keeps it exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah. Even a small one, though, at X speed would be a worry, right?
Yeah.
We're due a big shake-up.
Yeah. Well, we
just
are.
had 2 years of chaos. We don't need any more.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah.
Isn't Wellington due for a big shake-up?
Wellington's due to disappear into the ocean, I'm pretty sure.
Is that what it's going to do?
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was overdue.
I think Mother Nature hates Wellington because it's windy.
Not just Mother Nature.
Yeah.
People do too.
Everyone that doesn't live in Wellington.
Yeah.
Not only is it windy, cold, shitty, but it's going to just slide off into the ocean. It's just going to be...
Apparently it's good on a good day, but...
Is it?
Well...
It's I think all those conditions, though, have made Wellington and the geography have made it a cool little city because it's chock full of cool little restaurants and bars and things to do. But I think it's because fuck, we don't want to go too far. Just pack it in next to the other place because it's cold and windy. We just want to sneak from here to there. So it's densely. It's got
straight out your door and into a nice warm place.
Yeah. It's densely populated with cool things to do and eat and what have you for that reason.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Isn't so Taupo's doing something at the moment, eh?
Yeah.
Like volcanic activity.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just been elevated.
Yeah,
It's alert level.
the alert level, yeah.
Oh, shit.
First time in ages, eh?
Yeah, I think so. It's normally at alert level 0, nothing's going on. And then they've gone, no, we're just going to push up to level 1. There's been 700 earthquakes under the lake.
Oh, wow.
Little ones, but enough of them in an area that they're starting to go, okay, that seems to be some sustained activity. There's magma or something moving around under there. Something's going on.
Is the water warm?
I don't know. There might be this beautiful window, for a couple of years where the water's just awesome before it goes.
Lovely.
That water,
Giant hot tub.
Yeah. That water around the coast of it there is quite nice, eh? Like that comes out of the ground, warm water. It's
that's
real nice, eh?
That's such a cool thing. Geothermal water,
Oh, I've got that in Wairera.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Have you?
Yeah, I've got this concreted hot tub.
No way.
Yep. And it's got
lives like a king. Paradise.
It's got we'll run out.
You want some? Oh, I'll grab one. But you keep going. I'll grab one.
Cool. So it's this. Well, actually, so our place is 3 stories. It's got garages down below and a courtyard where I've got a hot tub, and then there's my level, and then the landlord who lives upstairs. He's got a hot tub, sort of at the split level, and then he's got another one at the top level.
Yep.
Anyway,
This guy's leveled up.
mate, unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, I've just got this pipe running into this hot tub. You put a plug in the bottom, and it's the full size tub is probably this size sort of area like this, but it's been walled off in a section because when those water restrictions come in, you couldn't use
so
X
much.
amount
in
a day. Anyway,
Smash that down, man. Get a sledgehammer.
Yeah, man, get rid of that.
so
She's a lap pool now.
yeah, but I mean, you'd sit 2 or 3 adults in it, no worries.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you just crack this tap, and it's 40 degrees out of the tap,
That's
it's
the dream.
just thermal, beautiful
Yeah,
spring
can't
water.
get better, eh?
Not spring, but I forget what it's called.
Yeah,
but
it is.
Yeah.
It's a thermal spring, I guess.
It's like Rotorua,
Yeah.
It's that sort of nice thermal water straight out of the tap. Awesome. Yeah.
My grandparents had the same at Parakai.
Do they? Yeah.
Well, they don't now. They're not around.
Yeah.
Did.
Fair enough. Sorry
but
to hear that.
Yeah. Sort of happens when you get older.
Yeah, seems to.
But no, it's exactly the same thing, Woody. They had a big pool, I don't know, would it be, 8x4, like a proper big pool, and they'd always heat. That was so where they were, they had some sort of handshake agreement rights to this mineral or thermal bore.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
Yeah, so
It's
they
like a 30-year whatever.
yeah,
agreement,
some sort of
lease,
agreement,
whatever.
yeah. And then so they had their big pool was always hot, so we'd in
That's
summer
so
they'd
cool.
let it go cold, but winter it was hot, so we'd be out there all the time as kids. And then second to that, they had exactly like you were saying, Woodsy. They had this room that was built pretty much they had a fiberglass shell like a spa pool would have, but essentially it's a big bath. Same thing. Just turn a tap on, put the plug in, turn the tap on.
Yeah.
It's all shaped like a spa.
Yeah.
And you'd step up into it and again, mate, same thing, 40 degrees and beautiful water, cooking, man. And you couldn't get better. I remember your dad's told us stories. Dad grew up there in that house as a kid, and same thing, them and all their mates when they're teenagers, and man, massively involved in local rugby, and they'd all be out there, a whole bunch of lads, in the pool after games,
After the game,
just
recuperating,
therapeutic-ish.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The beers after probably kill that, but same thing, just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of outlets onto the beach at Wairera.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sort of at either end of the beach. So you can actually go down there and dig out a bit of a thing in the sand, block it up with some rocks, and you got your own little
Hot pool
on the beach.
Yeah.
And then well, the ocean's right there, so you can jump out of that and into the cold ocean, then jump back into the
Hot, cold.
into the warm. Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, having that coming into your property has got to add some value to the property. You know, if you just want to, like you say, just imagine having an all pool in your backyard and then going, oh, we'll just turn the hot tap on if you want to warm the pool up. 2 hours before a party, just cycle that through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's free coming out of the ground.
Yeah, I think, I don't know.
It is metered, but
Is it?
yeah, you're only allowed X amount a day. But
Yeah, I don't know if out at Nano Pops was, but I think the bore itself was kind of on a neighbouring property which they used to own.
Oh, yeah.
And then they sold that but had a handshake agreement with the person they sold to.
Keep the water access.
Yeah, that they were still allowed to use to fill up their pool.
Yeah.
But then I don't know whether it was the same person or whether that neighbouring property sold again and then it went a bit pear-shaped.
No, yeah.
But they still had access to it, but then it was like, say, the tap or the bore or whatever, like, fucked out.
Right.
And then it's like, well, who's paying to fix it?
Yeah.
Those sort of things. But
Yeah.
I guess if you're...
That's the sort of thing. If you're going to go off the grid, you know, you live off the grid.
Man, that'd be gold. If
You
you're
find
off
a
the
place
grid,
like that that's got that access, a little bore on there, so you've got hot water.
Absolutely.
And then if you could pair that up with a bit of a hill and a stream, shit, man. I saw this dude on YouTube the other day, and in his basement of his house, he's just got this pipe that runs from the stream way up here. It's just gravity is what drives it, but it's just he's got this little pipe in the stream coming out, runs down to his house, and in his basement, there's just this little turbine, and this thing's just going, and just producing power, and just topping up his, like his solar batteries.
Yeah.
oh yeah, sweet.
Just and it's constant. The stream runs all the time, all year round, just constantly.
Yeah, man.
You know, so like that'd be cool. You're not paying for power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a client the same that did the same. Over in Dairy Flat somewhere. Used to be out south there, moved over there.
And then that's his water. Like he's just taken that out of the stream because it's on his property.
Right.
And so it comes to the house, turns electricity, and then that water just gets used in the house or the garden or fills the pool or whatever. It's not hot, but
I think that the turbine
good,
keeps things topped up when the sun's not around. You know,
Yeah.
Like they have
Yeah.
solar panels as well. But
yeah,
like you said, that turbine, unless your creek runs dry, which is pretty unlikely.
yeah.
It's just
Especially
an
after
added.
the winter we've had.
Yeah. It's just an added source, right? When there's less sun, but there's water.
Yeah.
And I guess too, if there's like lack of water, there's probably more sun.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, if
yeah,
it's dry.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. There's some cool technology going on to try to make power like free. Well, not free, but
Yeah, man.
from environmental sources. There's this design where it actually looks a bit like that, except it doesn't have a bottle. But they're building this tall tower. I think they're going to do it in Arizona, but it's going to be tall. Like it's real tall. It's like 300 meters tall.
Yeah.
Something like. And it's got this end. It's got a bulbous end.
How long? What shape exactly? How long?
Yeah. And then it's got these two round things at the front.
Yeah, that's the fan units, and you keep
Mate,
them.
these things have been around for years.
It's this tall tower, and it works on the temperature differential because it's just so. They pipe some water up
do.
there, and they're going to spray some
do,
water.
mate,
They spray some water down the top, and because that water starts to fall, that causes the air to be dragged behind it, and they've got some fans at the bottom. And so air just gets dragged down. Once that cycle's started, it just continues.
It's like siphoning.
Yeah, it's like siphoning, and it's the temperature difference between the air temperature up here and the ground temperature, which keeps it going. And so it's just pulling air through, turning these turbines. And once you got it going, that's it. These turbines just get turned, so they produce some power. And it's just it's a unit.
Yep.
There's no other moving parts in this here, so really low to maintain. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'll draw one for you guys later on.
I'm sure there's one of your mags, mate. Don't bother drawing
Look
it.
forward to that drawing.
Like gold member on Austin Power, mate. That's interesting, though. Eh? Like you said, it's just it becomes infinite-ish.
It just doesn't require anything to sort of feed it, I think, once it's going. I don't think they need to keep pumping water to keep it going. I think that's a starting process. Once the water falls down, creates a low pressure area as it drags some air down with it, and the air just keeps coming. It's just like siphoning.
Why can't siphoning work like on a turbine?
How do you mean?
Like siphoning and feeding back into the same thing, and the turbine runs.
Because you lose an air. You lose an energy. Like as your air, if you did, as your air comes down, it's going to push the turbine and take some energy out of the system.
Yeah.
So you can't end up with an endless cycle of air.
I mean, like water.
Reason of influence, yeah.
Siphoning water, though. Like, why can't that just go round and round and round? So as it comes out the hose, it goes back into the same place it's feeding from.
Because you'd need more energy to lift it. I guess the lifting power to siphon it, to pull it up, you're going to pull it up. As it comes down, it's just going to like end up equalizing. If water's in a circle,
you have
to pump it to get it to go up.
Energy to pump it up.
Yeah.
No, but when you're siphoning, you don't. Like, who says it has to be vertical?
Oh, no, but siphoning works because remember, siphoning only works if you got a tank of water here.
Yeah.
You can siphon down.
Yeah.
Like that, but you can't then siphon back up. That's why it wouldn't work, because you can always siphon down a hill.
Yeah. So where it's coming out, it's got no pressure to put it back into the thing above it.
Yeah, you got to always when you
guess.
siphon, you got to have that the exit point lower than where you're drawing from, or it'll just stop.
Man, I thought I was onto something then.
Yeah, you were close.
I was going to say, they haven't thought about this yet.
Yeah. Well, they probably have. They just disappeared because the oil company didn't want them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Is this going live already?
Shit. That's it. Next week.
Men in black suits outside.
Yeah, next week we'll be like, have you heard from Ollie? No, man. He's just gone off the fucking gone radio silent.
Yeah, but there was a dude with a mobile badge on his car that came and took him away.
Yeah, he did have that idea, guys. Never mind this power station down the road. Solar panels.
Yeah. Well, that's what.
But talking about that new technology and energy and that, so there's a company now called NDB, so it's Nano Diamond Batteries, and what they're doing is taking nuclear waste and they're creating diamonds out of it. But these diamonds hold enough energy to power produce power for 28,000 years or some crazy amount of times. So because they think lithium's going to run out, or it's just going to get too hard to mine it, or whatever, these guys have found that you can create these diamonds with energy inside them from nuclear waste. So great theory, and can produce really good energy for a long time. Yeah, for a very long time. However, I guess that the risk is in actually getting the shit out of the ground, right? Or dealing with the nuclear waste.
Is the diamond like nuclear waste?
Is it radioactive or?
Yeah, radioactive.
Well, it must have been, because it's produced from the nuclear waste from a power plant.
Yeah.
I can't remember the process in which they do to produce this stuff, but it'll be just the handling of it would be difficult.
And encasing it so it doesn't get out.
Yeah, but imagine that, like. They reckon they're going to produce batteries that you can last for thousands of years.
Yeah,
and just produce energy the whole time.
Well, that's a radio waste. That's what it is doing. It's just radioactive. Like, it's given off energy.
All the time.
Yeah, like
all
uranium and all that. So yeah.
It's decaying. That's
constant source.
Yeah.
But as long as you can do it, and like you say, maybe that's what they're doing. They're somehow trapping that into like a crystalline diamond structure, so that it's not radiating out randomly and zapping people. It's being managed and forced into one area and then pushing electrons out so you get electricity out or something like that. That's what they've done.
rather than damaging radiation. Yeah. So they reckon the amount of radiation it gives off is less than what the human body gives off.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So like you say, they've somehow managed to
contain
harness it. Yeah.
Harness it.
It's pretty cool though. So it almost then makes nuclear power plants quite a reusable, clean energy.
Yeah.
Because all a nuclear power plant is doing is creating steam to drive a generator to produce power.
That's right. It's just the waste from the fusion process that we use. But if you move to not fusion, the fission process. If we can crack fusion, then you don't end up with that waste. And they're looking now to make different fission reactors, thorium reactors, and different things so that they don't produce as much waste. And even if they do have a meltdown, they design them in such a way that you don't get the problems that you had at like Chernobyl. So, basically they fail safe. Like if they stop, power stops to them, somehow a door opens and the fuel rods fall onto a heap of things that'll cool them down, or somehow they're designed in such a way that if they fail, they just fail safely. Yep. Instead of today when they fail and you've got a problem on your hands.
Right.
Yeah. Germany just 3 weeks ago, because of the the dependence on the Russian natural gas and oil,
Yeah.
they have just said, it's okay, we're just going to move nuclear energy back onto the green energy sources again, because they were shutting down all the nuclear power plants because they were, for whatever reason. And now they're like, shit, we're screwed. We've depended on Russian oil. We need to liven these things up again. And you're right, it's a clean source. If it's managed, if the waste is managed, and now if you can do something like that, like turn it into really useful batteries, nuclear's got to take off. It just
it does.
Yeah.
It's just
scary,
it's just,
but in a sense.
It is,
Yeah.
but it's because it gets all the media, and it could, and there can be these big events. But when you look at coal mining, fuck, how many guys die in coal mining
it's
each year?
terrible shit.
You know,
How much shit is it putting into the atmosphere?
Yeah.
But we still use it like, I thought Huntley was supposed to be shutting down, but apparently we're still burning it. Like,
I don't know.
we're still using it.
I mean, it's a thing you've got to do. It's a progression along. But you're right. Ultimately, you would think, hey, let's move to nuclear and make it clean nuclear and just be able to pump out heaps of power from a little amount of source. It just becomes overall more efficient.
100%. Yeah. And the only thing going into the atmosphere is steam.
Steam.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then what? Then you end up like powering cars by that.
Well, who
I think they
knows?
tested that years ago, because they have nuclear powered submarines. And
Yeah. It's when you have a crash that's the issue,
carriers
right?
and
At the
all
moment, I
sorts.
guess.
Yeah, what's that?
If you have a crash is the issue, I guess.
Yeah, I
in terms
guess
of,
Well, it's heavy as hell. Like,
oh, is it?
uranium and I don't know, whatever the other stuff they use is super heavy.
Well, they use it in they use it for the shells, like those A-10 Warthogs, those American planes.
Rifles. Yeah, depleted uranium.
Depleted uranium.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's just super heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it packs a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess if you make power sources like that are infinite, then again, it's the whole fuel company thing that.
Yeah, but they'll move it. They'll adopt it. They'll see it coming eventually, and they'll
Well, if they're
invest
smart,
in
they'll
it.
they'll invest in it.
They'll
That's
go
it.
to doing that, I guess,
Yeah, that's it.
away from oil and.
The market will make it happen. Be like, look, sucks. You've invested billions of dollars in the oil industry, but you might as well get out of it and move on to
But
the
they're
next.
also-
They're making money from it already. Like they've made so much money out of
They've
oil.
already made billions, right?
They will
Yeah.
be owning the lithium mines
Trillions.
and the dump trucks and all the infrastructure around all the other alternatives. That
It'll
whatever.
happen.
Yeah.
It's got to happen. It's like anything. The dudes who used to make arrows all the time would have been like, fuck, we got to
Start
get
making
smart here
bullets.
and start making bullets or something. Yeah, but you're right. But that's it. The smart ones would have. Like, they would have seen the changing times and done that.
Yeah. Trains and cars,
Yeah.
same deal.
What?
But trains and cars, like
Yeah.
there used to be coach builders,
Yep.
and then because they had all those skills, they eventually started building cars because that was the next thing.
That's cool. I know when I was a teenager, I dated a girl, and I remember her dad. He was a coach builder. It was what his title was. He wasn't a mechanic. He was a coach builder, and so he would do like a whole heap of work on cars, it's even like inside stuff, like the leather work and all of that kind of stuff, and woodwork in cars because he was a coach builder.
Yeah, because he could do everything
Yeah,
to do with
Yeah.
that before. So multi-talented.
but those. Yeah, like little nuclear batteries. I mean, imagine if this was your power pack, like this is it, and you just drop that in your car and like you never change it. Like
And that's my power pack every weekend.
Yeah, we've got that now. We're into that. You only need one, but we seem to have a dozen. And even like you think of your house too, like, and it would just never end. Like there wouldn't be power cuts,
Yeah,
and with severe weather events and stuff like that.
yeah. You'd never turn your lights off. Like, what the fuck for?
Yeah,
Leave them on all the time.
there'd be light.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
that would be cool.
Yeah.
Those electric cars, man. Yeah, I was telling a mate the other day, we were talking about autonomous vehicles. I watched on Twitter, someone had just done like a little time lapse of their Tesla drive.
Okay.
That Tesla was doing some good driving. It was just driving all the way through somewhere in America, and watching it come in intersections and just navigate through intersections does a really good job.
Yeah.
But it made me think a couple of years ago, 10 years ago, I saw not a documentary, just a short thing on Volvo and their autonomous driving. And it was really well set up because this was before Teslas were a main thing. It was before you'd seen heaps of footage of self-driving cars. It was like, It was a new technology. And there's this British journalist, I think, and he's sitting in the passenger seat of this car. He's going, today we're at the Volvo testing grounds and they're going to release and demonstrate to us the new automated driving technology. And so, there's a guy in like a white lab coat outside the car, and they go, "Is you ready?" He goes, "All right, let's go." And the car goes, like this is self-driving shit like this. And the guys going, the Volvo team have been working on this while, and they're quite happy with their performance and how it's going. And then it just goes and takes off and just boots it around this circuit, and you're like, whoa, like it was a good setup, it was obviously silly. But when the thing was going, the guys in the passenger seats going, because the thing's like coming in the corners, like full on the brakes and sliding. It was mean.
It'd be scary.
Yeah.
Like I wonder what those Teslas would do if you let them go loose. If you're like, all right, forget about not running people over for now. Just go as hard as you can. What can you show us? Those things would be insane, I reckon.
Elon would have done that.
Tesla S, I think it is.
Have you?
It's the well, it's not the super go fast one, but it was a go fast one.
Mm.
And they do like 0 to 100 in 3 seconds or something.
Yeah.
It is insane.
Cool.
Because it's all that torque.
Insane.
They just get 100% torque from 0 revs with their batteries.
But also there's no engine noise. So you're just kind of you're just speeding up, and then you're like, you can hear all the wind and stuff, but you don't have that engine sort of, I don't know how to say it, like when you're in a car and it's an engine comes up to revs, you expect it to go fast. You can kind of hear it, and you're anticipating. That's the word I was looking for. You anticipate this is going to go fast because you can kind of hear it.
But you just start going fast.
There's nothing, you're just going fast. You're just getting like sucked back into your seat, and you're like, holy shit. And then
for what? Because there's no noise.
Yeah. It's just more and more wind noise.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
You can buy units that you can stick on a car, and they've got speakers out, and you put them out the back, and you can get get a mini miner or something, and it's got a microphone that goes into the engine bay, and then it's got a little audio processor in there, and out the back you can go, okay, what do I want to make this? I'll make this sound like a Shelby Cobra, and so out the back it's picking up the revs from the engine, but making it go.
How do you make it sound like a Tesla?
I don't know. Turn it off. But that'd be cool. I could cruise around a little car, and it's like, what the hell is it?
What's in that?
Just noise.
That's all it is.
Fun though.
Oh yeah.
Actually, now that you say that, they had those speakers that would have a micro switch on your gear lever, and then when you change gear, it'd go.
Blow off valve type scenario.
Did you see the rally cars here this week on Thursday?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so they've got a supplementary fuel stop at the Atlas concrete place on 16.
Oh, did they? When?
Today.
Oh,
in the actual Atlas Mount
in the
Rex.
yard.
Mount Rex.
Yeah. So the cars were in and out, like back and forward between North Shore and Atlas, getting. Sorry, not North Shore. They're going out towards Calcop. So there must be a stage out that way.
Yeah,
they're at Kuiper Flats or something today.
Okay, that would make sense. But it was they called it a supplementary fuel stop. So they must have to strategize their refuels or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because they're north of there, so it's
But they were coming back down from that way, going out there, getting fuel, and then heading back up.
I wonder where they stay, in terms of.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mm.
I just thought it was weird that they go out of their way to get fuel.
Yeah, why is there not one just up where they're racing?
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know.
I saw a thing on Facebook the other day. Richie McCall was down there.
Yeah, I heard.
He went for a ride with someone.
Did he?
Yeah, he was fizzing, eh?
Was he?
Yeah, he said it was just unreal.
It was pretty mean, man. It was Thursday morning. I was walking the kids to school, and Renee actually texted me on WhatsApp and sent me this little voice message. And I was like, I listened to it, and she goes, "Oh, the rally cars are down the bottom of the street. There's photographers and thing everywhere." And I went, "Oh, I thought it was the week after. I thought it was next Thursday. I'd forgotten about it."
Right.
And I was like, "Oh, cool." So I walked the kids to school, and we're walking up the street, and it's just ding, 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 ding. Like there's
sound mean.
There's like these mums driving to school, and then they're sitting behind them, backed up behind them. It's like the World Rally Champs.
Yeah.
We went over the Garfield, just down outside the school, and I can hear this thing going ding, 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 ding. But there was like a transit van or something coming up. They're sitting there. I couldn't kind of see it. I get round it. That's Sebastian Ogier, who's the world number one.
Shit.
He's like number one.
I think he's leading the rally now.
Yeah, well, he was there, and I'm like, the kids. I went, that's the best driver on the planet, you know, at the moment, sitting outside the school and all the kids already got to school were on the fence like monkeys with like 50 little blue outfits just going, looking at this thing.
Yeah.
And so
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. And then I dropped the kids off and I walked back down, followed them down here, and there was someone else came down, and from the top of Rataffera here, just down to our elbow of the road here, he just gave it a squirt, and you know, hear him gave it a squirt, but then he had to get on the brakes real quick because the cars had someone was turning or they'd backed up there, and you hear him slide like on the bitumen. Yeah, man, it was mean. And then Shane, I walked down to the rugby ground and took a picture of my dad just to show us like, hey, this is what's happening in my town today. And Shane
forward.
Yeah, Shane Van Gisbergen was having a crack in it.
Yeah.
He was in a car.
He did some rallying.
No, neither did
I saw a thing with him this morning. He's like sitting sixth or something.
Oh, yeah, wicked.
Yeah, he had a couple of mistakes, I think. But
Okay.
But yeah, going mean. It's funny how they can just cross code type.
Yeah, because it's super different, eh?
Yeah, it must be. But
Yeah.
then, is there elements that are just the same? Like,
It's got- well,
or
yeah,
just
there
like
must
the
be,
natural
I mean,
ability to like handle a car, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
But yeah, it must be super different in terms of grip and stuff. Like
Yeah.
they're like loose all the time, aren't they? Where
How
like
did
say
they,
a V8's, mate, they're stuck to the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Well, yeah, and if they're not,
There's trouble.
you're out of there.
Yeah.
Like, real fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Now, when did a rally drive NZ or something like that? It's down in Marramura Forest.
Yep.
So awesome, man.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, so you go down there. It was $500 to do it, but it was so worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
And that was going back a few years, but you go do like a loop around. It's a forestry track, so it's all gravel, quite well bermed, and takes you out in like a Land Cruiser or something, and you just do a bit of a brief on the circuit, and then you come back and jump in an Evo 3, I think it was.
Yep.
And he sits next to you. You've got helmets with comms on. And so he's just talking to you constantly. But there's no like he drives and then you drive. You're just straight in the driver's seat.
Right.
So it's just like, right,
Awesome.
go. And you just like, you do exactly what he tells you. Change now, change now. You come up to a corner. He's like, and so he'd sort of talk to you about it, like, you know, turn in and then you got to kind of throw the car.
The Swedish
into
flick.
it. Yeah, which is crazy because it kind of goes against everything
What you're doing.
you know,
What
how
you've
you
learned.
Get that
drive on the
momentum
road.
swinging the car around.
Yeah. And he's like, right, foot down, change now. And you have no idea how fast you're going other than it feels fast.
Yeah.
It's just like gravel and like everything's flying past you. And you move over the side. And you're constantly talking to you. You're just trying to manage gears, manage speed, manage brakes. And there's just so much happening.
Oh,
And
so good.
it's awesome, man. It was such a good rush.
You're worth doing, eh?
Yeah. And then everyone goes through it. And then at the end of it, he either takes you for a ride or we just happened to be there on the day that one of New Zealand's top drivers were there. And he had an Evo 8.
Yep.
And we jumped in with him in the passenger seat. And you thought you were going fast when you were driving? Holy shit. Like this dude,
Triple
man,
fold.
it's just insane. You're coming up to a corner, you're like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And he just, and it just throws around, you're out of there. And
You've
you're just
accepted it.
like, oh, fuck.
Please stop.
Yeah.
But man, it is insane. And how they just grip
Yeah.
without gripping, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
all four wheels
They
are
skate.
Spinning.
are just spinning.
Yeah.
But he's just got all the grip and the control in the world, and he's just loose. But
It's that really,
awesome, man.
it's that really like light grip, you know, like
Yeah.
the car's kind of got air underneath it almost. It's just
Yeah.
touching the ground, but it's enough grip.
It's like a dance with the
Yeah,
ground, eh?
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Must be on the edge.
Yeah, totally on the
So
edge.
cool, man. Yeah.
We used to watch it as kids. It was the same, well, similar course. I think it was Rothman's rally then. Cigarette sponsorship.
Yeah, good old days.
When you're allowed like bad stuff to sponsor you.
Yeah, back when times were good. Life was simple. But I mean, we used to watch it with Dad and stuff, and we'd just go down along inland. But one year, me and my mate were staying up at his place at top of Fordyce Road on our bikes at like 4:30 a.m. BMXs. From there, like all the way in here up to top of Kiwatahi, because it used to start at Kiwatahi down by Woodhill School.
Okay.
And they'd do all the Kiwatahi. This is all in one hit. And then they'd come along out of top of Kiwatahi, along Wishart, down the 5 mile hill here, and then out to Calcop. But yeah, we did the pedal at 5 a.m. type thing. I don't know, we would have been 10 or 11, I suppose.
Legends.
But yeah, but fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, You just live for that shit, and we just move along like different corners. And
Yeah.
it's awesome, eh?
Yeah.
Just the sound.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I remember one year one of them rolled, like along here on inland. I can't remember who the driver was, but I remember Simon, my brother, had this fucking grill. Like he got the grill off it. It was like a fuck, it was sick, and it was like sat like prime position on his like bedside, his bookshelf in his room for years.
Yeah.
But rad.
Awesome.
Yeah, fucking cool, eh? Yeah, and that would have been like that is Possum Born type era.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
back that would have been that long ago, I guess. Yeah, we were like primary school kids.
The crazy thing about it is that you drive with a navigator. Like, it's not just the driver piloting it. Like, he's listening and getting his cues from the dude next to him.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a great amount of trust to be in that relationship and go, okay, don't cock it up.
Yeah, I guess though that like his survival is your survival. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. He ain't going to put us off the road. He's not going to try to.
But what
And
happens?
he's sitting there with like his notes, just
Not
going,
even looking at the
meeting
road, eh?
and blah, blah,
Yeah.
just rattling through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well,
it.
they don't
How
appear
does
to
he
be.
not get motion sickness?
Yeah, they must get real used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do
It's a
they?
bit like those jet sprint boat guys, like they're sitting next
yeah.
to him just doing like that.
Yeah, those are rad.
Man, that's awesome.
That's so quick.
You can go in those somewhere too, eh?
Yeah, there's a
We
few
used to be able
places,
to.
I think.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But when you make a mistake there, geez, you know about it. Because they just like, you make a mistake and suddenly you've gone off water, you're on dirt and the thing's just rolling.
Yeah. Sometimes you're lucky and they just scoot up and stop, eh? But often they're like,
Or they scoot up and they don't stop and like they're out in the car park. Like they just keep going like a rocket.
yeah, definitely.
Those things are doing like 4 Gs or something around a corner, aren't they? Was it more than that? It's like crazy. Yeah.
It's funny just too, like how much horsepower's in like a thing,
Yeah.
like the length of that thing. So they're tiny.
Dude,
Ish.
I saw only today, I've just seen this today. It's like electric powered surfboard racing. There's these little surfboards
I
about
saw
this
that.
long. Do you see them?
It's so cool.
Yeah, like all these dudes are standing in the water, like a Moto Start or whatever it is, GP Start, standing in the water, and then they hit some button, and you see this bubbles coming out the back of the boards, and they run and jump on the boards like little foot straps,
Yep.
and then they're off. They're like
Yeah, they've got
surfing
like a
along
little-
like this, like jockeys. You know?
Yeah. Little tow rope off the.
Little toe to
nose.
hold on.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
So cool.
I'd never seen them before.
No, I haven't seen
I
it.
might have shared it on one of our chat
Oh,
things.
maybe.
Yeah,
I'd have to
but
look.
it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
They go quick too.
Yep.
For little, like again, amazing power now getting out of electric motors and
Yeah, man.
batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah. The what is it? The Goodwin Speed.
Goodwood.
Goodwin Speed.
Goodwood. Yeah.
Goodwood Speed thing. So it's an old estate in the UK.
Yep.
And once a year, they open up the doors and everyone comes in. They bring all sorts of cars and they race around the roads within the estate. And the way they plan it is pretty cool. That like the most underpowered car starts first. You know, so it might be it's an old Model T Ford or something. It goes first, and so it'll go through. It takes us 12 minutes to do the course, but that dude gets to step out and the announcer goes, and our race leader is blah, blah, blah. And then the next car that goes through will be like a 1920 something, our new race leader. So everyone effectively gets to be the race leader at one stage during the day. Yeah, it's cool the way they do it. But I saw it a couple of years ago where the last car, I think it was a Volvo, and it was an electric Volvo. And it just monstered the course.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was AI, if it was driving itself, or if someone was driving it, but it was an electric vehicle, and it was just it raced last and had the fastest time.
Oh, Monster Tajima used to do that one, eh? Is that the one?
He was mean.
Did
eh?
he?
Yeah.
How did he make his money, man? He did everything, eh?
Yeah, he was doing like the Pike Point.
Pikes Peak was his big thing, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
he used to do it all the time, eh?
Yeah.
Yep.
He owned that for a while, yeah.
Yeah,
And that was that other one down south. I forget what that was.
He's got a loose looking car, eh, with all those.
The
Yeah,
big
wings
tail
like
on
a-
it.
a Suzuki something or
Yeah.
other, eh? Yeah.
Sebastian Loeb, when he retired from the rally, he went and did Pikes Peak after that. And I watched the in-camera footage of that.
Oh, yeah.
That's bonkers. Like at one stage, he's just coming up over this sort of blind corner, and it's just all sunstrike, and you're like, I can't see where you're going. Yeah, obviously you know where you're going at pace.
He probably just knows from past, I suppose, but
Yeah.
trust your instinct.
Yeah. And there you go.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll have a break. Come back
man.
in 5. Yeah, sweet.
That's cool, man. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. It's real fun, eh?